Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, and we are continuing our series where we are trying to beat the game as Soldier of Godrick. We are going to start off today's episode with swapping weapons yet again. Now, I really did enjoy using the war pick, however, I really disliked how short the range was on it. So we are going to be swapping over to the spear. Now, the spear is actually called the Partisan, and I really liked using this. I wish it did a little bit more damage, but I really wanted to use a bleed weapon for the Godskin Duo because I hate the Godskin Duo and they deserve to be punished with bleed. And also sleep pots, because I use the sleep pots. I don't care if people say it's cheese. It actually saves lives, and that life is mine because I hate the Godskin Duo. But getting into this video, we're going to upgrade our Blood Partisan to plus 18, and then go to the place that I hate the most in Elden Ring, the sewers. I've already talked about how much I hate the sewers, but we needed to come back down here and kill Eskar, Priest of Blood, to get his Talisman, the Lord of Blood's Exaltation. Now, this Talisman is really good because it makes you deal more damage whenever you do a blood loss proc. However, this fight against Eskar is super annoying. His dogs just cause blood loss, he spams Swarm of Flies, and you can never get a break from his stupid attacks. I couldn't decide on whether I should work on just killing the dogs first and then kill Eskar, and that's eventually what I end up doing, but it took about 4 or 5 attempts to even get close to killing him and then killing him. But now that we've gotten this talisman, we are going to move to getting our next talisman, which is the Winged Sword Insignia. This fight is pretty easy, so we had no problem with getting this talisman. But then we're going to move on and get the recipe for the sleep pots so that we can craft them. We then get the Volcano Manor invitation and start the questline for that. We are then going to respec into Arcane and Strength, and then continue Ronnie's questline here by going through one of the most annoying areas in the game as well. I hate this stupid sorcerer guy that is in there. He killed me more times than he should have. We then killed the fat Godskin Noble and went and grabbed the Curse Mark of Death. We then moved to the Mountaintops of the Giants because I wanted to kill this Erdtree avatar because I thought it gave the consecutive hits tier, but instead he cloned himself and then proceeded to not drop the consecutive hits talisman. I don't know which avatar brings that, but I really thought it was this one, but it sadly was not. We then move and grab the Haligtree medallion for the right, and then further the questline for Volcano Manor because we are going to be defeating Rykard in this episode. We do all the invasions that we need to do, including the one where we teamed up with Bernal, and then went and killed Hoslow in his area. I really love Hoslow's armor, even though we can't wear it. But we're then going to move into defeating Rykard. Now, I really tried my best to just use the spear and Godrick's swords and stuff. And the spear was by far the best one because it did all that bleed damage. But you really just sit there and take damage to the lava over and over and over again and constantly have to use pots. I finally, after a lot of attempts, got him to just his second phase by doing this method. And the most flask we were ever at in this was 2. So I ended up switching over to the Serpent Hunter, because it was genuinely just impossible for the level and the amount of health that I had and pots that I had to be able to even defeat Rykard. But this attempt here is not great just because I had very little flask and I swapped over to using the Serpent Hunter. But after a few attempts, we went and upgraded the Serpent Hunter to plus 9. And then we absolutely demolished Rykard. His first phase is such a breeze with the upgraded Serpent Hunter. But the second phase is where it gets kind of difficult. His moveset is not that hard to beat, and especially if you just break his posture, it's pretty much free from there because you can get a ton of charged attacks in. if you have the charge attack talisman and the charge attack physic, it just makes you do so much more damage to Rykard. Also the R1s are probably my favorite attack. It's a super cool poking animation, and it's super fast and it does a ton of damage. But by far, once you stagger him and you just hit him with some charge attacks, it's just pretty much GG's from there and an easy boss fight. This is now our 7th Remembrance boss beaten now, but now we move into my least favorite boss fight in this game, Godskin Duo. This is by far the most unfair boss fight in the history of Elden Ring. I hate this boss fight with a passion. However, I am not against cheesing this boss fight and using sleep pots, because they deserve it. I hate this boss fight. I don't know if I can say it enough. I hate it. But I'm just gonna let you guys watch me continue to demolish the Godskin Duo with these sleep pots and this bleed. So now that that boss fight is over, we move into respecking for our final build for this series. Or for just for now. We're going to be swapping to do strength because that's been my favorite so far. But now we're going to move back into Volcano Manor to get the Ash of War I was really wanting to try, which is the Royal Knight's Resolve. I haven't used this one before. I heard it's really good. But I genuinely don't like going through the Volcano Manor area because there's so many things that can grab you, and the little snake dudes do not help at all. Now this Godskin Noble fight, I know this is the 3rd time we've actually fought this Godskin Noble this episode, is a lot easier with strength. I feel like now with sleep pots and bleed, it's straight cheese. But if you're actually wanting to fight a Godskin Noble without cheesing it, I feel like strength is the best option with just charged attacks. Now you do get hit quite a bit, but I feel like you break their posture a decent amount and you deal decent damage. With just regular pierce and stuff like that, I feel like I don't do like any damage, but brute strength and charge attacks is the best way to go in my opinion. But now you can just watch as I blast another Godskin Noble. Now with this Godskin Noble defeated, we move into the area that is really scary to me because I thought it was going to be a bunch of parkour, but I was able to just kind of walk off the edge of each little spot. That way I didn't have to do any jumps, because if I did have to do jumps, I probably would have died a ton. When I landed right there, I was freaked out by those dudes. I thought they were about to grab me, but they didn't even do anything. But now we're going to grab the Royal Knight's Resolve and immediately put this on our weapon and make it a quality greatsword. That way it scales with strength at a B tier. But now we're going to move up to Farum Azula. Now, I know someone in a comment said that Placidusax was here. Now, I actually have no idea how to get to Placidusax, so I'm going to have to look up a YouTube video on how to get to him. But in the next episode, I'm planning on defeating Malekith and defeating Placidusax for 2 remembrance bosses in one episode. That way I could start to kind of pick it up a little bit. But I swear, getting through Farum Azula is the most scary thing on the planet. Everything here does so much damage. Like, even though like regular NPCs like 2-shot you. And it's so annoying to get through. But when we got there, I realized I didn't be using Wingsword Insignia anymore. So I swapped it over to the Star Scourge Heirloom, which just raises your strength. But then we move up to defeating this Draconic Tree Sentinel. Now, this is probably my worst ever attempt at beating a Draconic Tree Sentinel. But I really wanted to try out the Ash of War for Royal Knight's Resolve, and oh my gosh, let me tell you, it's so good. It does an insane amount of poise. 2 charge attacks, and I'm breaking Draconic Tree Sentinel's posture, which is insane. Like, I was like completely baffled, and I was doing 1400 damage for a charge attack. Now that is with the Physic and the Talisman, but it still does insane damage. But as you can see, doing insane damage does not counteract the fact that I did terrible this fight. Instead of just doing my regular charge attacks, I instead get greedy and go for a ton of charge attacks just to test out the Ash of War. But besides the bad fight, I'm still able to defeat the boss with 0 flask left and legitimately 1 health left. Because this Ash of War genuinely carried me. And then for the last thing, I upgraded my sword all the way to level 25. I do want to say thank you guys so much for all the support on the first couple videos. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.